I want to talk about the people who are executing this extraordinary mission. We talk a lot about the lethality and what it is that we do, whether it is the assets, the equipment, or the training that goes into it. But so many of these folks, everybody has family back home, right? Maybe it's a mom and dad, maybe it's your wife and a couple kiddos. I have been concerned with some information that just came to my attention, like within the past week, with regards to the family advocacy program. This is responsible for the prevention, the identification, and coordinated response to whether it's child abuse, neglect, domestic or intimate partner violence. These are things that we don't want to acknowledge go on within our military, because we want to think that everybody's just okay and everybody's holding together, but our military are just reflections of what happens in the general society out there. And so there are problems, there are issues, and we need to be there for those families. I learned that Fort Wainwright has lost all of its family advocates. So they don't have anybody there at Fort Wainwright. We've dealt with some challenges, as you know, in Fort Wainwright in some recent years with suicides. We want to think that we're getting a handle on some of these, but these kinds of supports are so critically important, because it's not only those within our military, but they're working closely with other partners in the community. The community itself doesn't have the resources to help stand this up. So I know that what we've heard is some have accepted the voluntary early retirement or the separation buyout, but I'm worried that with the current hiring freeze, we may have some really critical positions that are not in the news until something bad happens. So I would just ask for your commitment, Secretary Driscoll, that you can look at support for family advocacy programs, make sure that we're not leaving our military families without this support, and maybe even exempt the program positions from the hiring freeze if you're seeing that that's part of the challenge. Can you speak to that?
So, Senator, we will follow up with your office on this. Just to qualitatively just say, what General George and I are not trying to do in anything is, when we say show our math for these cuts, we also mean show the math or acknowledge the warts and the issues that our soldiers have. For the Army's 250th birthday this past weekend, General George hosted us, and I had probably 18 guys who I had deployed with came in for it. I hadn't seen a bunch of them in 15, 16, 17 years, and it was amazing hearing their stories, but also their tragedies that service has cost, and we need to acknowledge that. And so very sincerely, between the two of us, we want to work with the Army's leadership, who also cares, to fix these things. And then just to the waiver authority, for the United States Army, I get a weekly report of waiver requests. As far as I know, we have always approved waivers for this type of position. And so we will look, but we will double down on our commitment to make sure we're not accidentally blocking anybody from being hired.
I appreciate that greatly.
Can I just add
Yes,
one thing, Senator?
General.
We use Alaska as a perfect example, very tight-knit group, people that are up there love it up there, but it has different needs. And so that's the other thing that we're trying to do, is look at areas very specifically, what they need up there in Alaska. So I just throw that on because, we put a lot of energy in making sure it's a different environment in mostly positive ways, but making sure that we're also reinforcing it that way as well.
Well, thank you for that, General. And you've kind of teed into my next question, which is a focus on the Arctic. As I mentioned, the 11th Airborne designated as an Arctic division. General McConville had said, he says, "I expect every soldier of the division to be masters of their craft or Arctic warfare." What we continue to hear back is that we haven't clearly defined what Arctic capable really means, and whether or not they are properly resourced or equipped for Arctic warfare. And we can cite to some of the equipment, the cold weather all-terrain vehicles. We don't know that we've got enough Black Hawks to move them, but some of it is just basic outfitting with cold temperature and Arctic protection systems. So I don't know if within the budget in front of us you can point out to me how the Army's only Arctic division has what they need in order to be successful in this very specific mission, specific to a region, as you have pointed out, General George.
Yeah, so, Senator, we are, like, cold weather gear is the perfect example, and having been up there in February when it's 40 below, there's obviously special equipment. So I think we are buying Cat Vs. The discussion we're having up there, and that's why we're trying to actually make headquarters adjustments up here. I do think that there's some areas we need to give different capability down to 11th Airborne, at the warfighting level, as far as on the, targeting or intel, and that's one of the things that we are looking at with the changes that we're making now to reduce what we have going on here at this headquarters. But I think we do have an Arctic strategy. I think we're
Are
committed
you going to have a new one
to
coming out?
do that. We'll obviously review it. I don't
Okay.
think we don't have any plans right now to. I think it's pretty solid in what they're doing. We have been increasing our training at the Readiness Center that's up there. So we'll continue to do that. And then we're looking at what we would do for whatever kind of additional equipment. Those soldiers also, they're very tough, hard. They do well deploying anywhere in the world. What additional equipment do we need to have for them if they're going to go fulfill other missions, which we need them to be able to do? To the earlier questions, we don't predict where bad things happen.
All right. Thank you both. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hogan.